Well, welcome everybody. Welcome, John.
Well, thanks, Chad.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for all coming today. And what we're going to talk about today is, there's been some new things going on with leasing, but I guess really want to highlight some of the things that leasing has provided and that sort of thing. And I'll turn it over to John and just kind of let him introduce us to some of the benefits of leasing. And we've got case studies.
Good. Perfect. Thank you, Chad. And welcome everybody to a beautiful Monday. And today, acceleration is really about the word acceleration. How do you go from where you are to where you want to be? And a lot of people that come to this call, and I know Cam, are you here?
Yes, sir.
All right, Cam. Thank you. Cam's been around for a healthy amount of time and has really got a lot of neat things going. And we're gonna bring him in and talk about leasing just a little bit, because sometimes what I have to say about leasing, sometimes people don't want to hear. They go, you've got some other motivation. I want to hear from somebody who's doing it like I am. And Cam is exactly one of those guys. But it's interesting, leasing. When I first got into this business a long time ago, when I was running around, of course I'm live here in Minnesota, but when I first started doing this, I was in San Diego, and I was running around, and it's expensive to live in San Diego and expensive to live in all kinds of places. But I had to figure out how to, because I really like this, I had to figure out how to make it work. How do you make enough money to be able to make it work? And there were only, back then we didn't make residual income, and so there's only really three ways to make money. One is setup fees, two was selling equipment, and three was leasing equipment. And what I found was that leasing equipment, I couldn't sell the equipment usually for enough money to make enough money on it. But leasing was an easy way, instead of having to collect $1,200 up front from a merchant, if my cost was $300 and if I wanted to make $900 or whatever, how do I, the equipment just gets too expensive to sell. But what I found is that if I go in and lease it for whatever, $40 a month, $39 a month, then I'm not going to make $900. But if I do maybe $39 a month and $129 setup fee, that I can make a good chunk of change, really across the board. And I can charge what I want to charge if I go in and create value, like give them everything that I have. And that doesn't mean give the rate away and charge high-end equipment like our competition loves to do. But it's really go in and understand what the merchant is looking for and provide value. Like, just the way our Merchant Tune-Up sheet is set up, one of the first questions is, what's one of the first questions on there that's relevant here?
How do you know the merchant?
How do you know the merchant? Which is right. And when you're talking to the merchant, what's the best question to ask a merchant at first?
How'd you get in this business?
Thank you. Who was that? Who are you? Tell me.
Beverly.
Beverly. God bless you, Beverly. That's exactly right. There's Beverly, and there's the people that use that. There's Beverly. She's written a bunch of business, and the people that use that write a bunch of business and make a lot of money. So leasing. So of course you want to go in, you want to ask the right questions, you want to build the right value. But the point, you can ask for money if you ask the right questions and build the right value. Now some people will say, and I've heard this. It's been said to me, and let's throw let's shine the light on, what do they call it, the big elephant in the room, or the big white elephant, or however that's called. Some people would say, well, I can't, how can, if we pay $300 for something, how can I justify leasing this thing for, let's say, $39 a month? Because let's say you got a bank referral. Let's look at this, because some people go, it would be just better if they would, why don't I, if it only costs me $300, I just don't feel like I can go out and lease this thing for $39.95 at 48 months. Have you ever heard anybody maybe, in your own head say something like this?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there's Cam. There's Cam. And was that Brian? I don't know who the other one was. Okay, so let's shine a big light on this and make sure that we understand a couple things here. So, okay, so let me ask you. So I've heard somebody say before, man, I got this referral.
Again, someone came in this morning with a guest pass, and
can you mute whomever that is?
yeah, I couldn't look him up. I tried looking him up using
Mr. Guest Pass, whomever's operating our conference call. All right. So let's look at that, because let's say you got the referral from a bank and you go, man, if I lease this for $39, they would never give me another lease or another referral. So let me ask you guys. Let's use a bank specifically. Banks are really good at really one thing, and that's buying and selling money. They get you to deposit your money, and let me ask you, what do they pay you guys when you deposit your money at the bank? What do they pay you for the use of your money?
Nothing.
How much?
They don't pay us anything when we deposit money in their bank, if that's what you're asking.
Well, they give you, let's say you put it in something where you earn interest, right? Because that's them paying you for the use of your money. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you get at a bank these days? What do they pay you for the use of your money?
Very little.
Little it's not worth talking about. Really,
No. It's important for the man.
Pennies.
Give the number. How much?
Pennies.
Okay, but give me a percentage. They give it to you in percentages.
1.5.
You know what? The point is, it's so dismal, isn't it? We're having a tough time even coming up with this tiny little number. Can we say 1% just to give them the benefit of the doubt?
Not really.
That's a leap.
Okay, let's use 1% just because I grew up in Iowa and it's easier math. But then when you want to borrow money from that same bank, what do they charge?
It depends on what it is, but it's going to be somewhere around 6, 7, 8%.
Okay, so let's just use the bottom part of that. Let's be fair. So you can bring your money in there and get 1%, and when you take it back out in the form of a loan, so they'll charge you 6%. So is that 600%? Is that 6 times? Am I right in my math?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So now in our scenario, if our cost on an equipment is $300, if we were a bank and using the same math, we might sell that thing for cash for $1,800. Now that to me seems a little like gouging to me. So let's not do it that way. I mean, I wouldn't quite feel right about charging $1,800 for something I bought for $3. But banks will happily all day long, every day, buy money at your money and sell it back to you at 6. It's your money. So they're making a lot. They're making 500% on the spread. But yet sometimes we feel a little sheepish about buying something for $300 and even selling it for $600. And so, let's look at other industries too. Let's say a restaurant. Say you go into a restaurant and you buy dinner. And let's say, do you know what food cost is in a restaurant? And of course, it depends
30.
what you're. Yeah, it's about 30%. Yeah, so their margin then is 250%, right?
Yep.
So a restaurant's 250, and so we can go on and on and on and on about the different formulas for how much you're going to buy your product for and resell it for. It's interesting that we in the Visa MasterCard business just are scared shitless sometimes to make any money when we sell equipment, and to a degree I agree. And when we're going to ask for cash up front, because you're going, hey, okay, this terminal. Let's say if we go with the restaurant, let's say 3. So we're going to, what is it? Well, we'd ask $1,000 because it'd be $300. It'd be 30%. Would be $1,000. So we'd ask if we were a restaurant, we'd get $1,000 out of it. using that formula. If we're a bank, we get 1,800. So I think that we're fair in even asking $1,000, but still that might seem a little bit. But let's say that in that scenario where we're the same as a restaurant, let's say you want to make $700, but you go, man, I don't want to. I feel awkward about asking $700 for it. Let's just for fun see what it costs. Now this is where you want to pop up in the lease commission calculator and go, all right, if I wanted to make $700, how much would I have to charge per month for the lease? This is how the people that make a lot of money on leasing go about it. They go, okay, if I want to make $700, so let's. You guys, are you in front of your computer where you might be able to access the lease commission calculator?
Yep.
So let's play around with it just for fun. Let's use our $300 equipment cost, since that's the number that we were already using. And if I'm going to put in, so if we use 300, put 300 in the equipment cost, what should we mess around with first in the lease amount to get in the ballpark?
About $55.
Okay, so let's say $55. Calculate. Yeah, that's going to do it. So 55. So now I don't know. I would feel a little bit. I think frankly that that's a bit much. I'm not going to lease something that, the average equipment that we buy for $300 for $55. I might go as high as $49, unless their credit wasn't so fantastic. Then I'd have to go higher. But I put in $49 if my cost is $300. I'm going to make anywhere from, what's the average credit score that we get back, Chad?
A and B typically lately is
so
what
let's
I've
say,
been seeing.
Okay, so I'm anywhere from 613 to 639. So let's say $620. So typically, when I go out there and lease a terminal for $49 up front, I'm going to make about $620. If it's a conversion from somebody over to us, then I'm going to make a couple $100 more. So here's a way to make $800 up front. And if you don't want to do it for so much, you can mess around and go $39. But at $39, still you're going to make $460, give or take. And would you guys agree or disagree? Feel free to disagree all you want, because it's an important thing to have the discussion. Is $39 fair in this market?
Yes, very, very,
Sure.
very fair.
Yeah, $39 is very fair. So $39, you go out and make, let's say, $460. So now let's say go back to the cash price. So to make $460, you'd have to add that to your $300. So you'd have to sell it for $760. So now you look at you go to a merchant and go, okay, so let's say you want to make $460 on just the equipment part of this thing. You go to a merchant, you go, okay, Mr. and Ms. Merchant, this terminal is $760, or you can lease it and it's zero down and it's $39 a month. Which works better for you, Mr. and Ms. Merchant? What do you think they're going to say?
Most cases, they're going to like the $39.
That's exactly right. Most cases, they're going to go with the $39, and that's how I always presented it. I can say, I don't like to use words like never, but I'm pretty confident. Yeah, I can remember one golf course where they bought about 12 pieces of equipment, not 12, about 8 pieces of equipment, where it was I went in and talked cash. But besides that, it was I would say 99% of the time it's leasing, because I had to, when you look at this, when you first start too, when people first start and they're running around and you need to make, you guys agree you need to make money up front until residuals kick in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you do that when we're typically so afraid to we buy it at $300 and we'll sell it for $400? I see it happen, and it's like, good Lord, I don't know how they're going to survive doing this unless there's, I don't know how, unless it's I don't even know. I don't know. But But when you put it in perspective, does it help to put it in perspective what a restaurant does, what a bank does? Does that?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
And Cam, and that's Cam chiming in. Cam, what you used to what was your opinion? Tell me about lease, because you wouldn't lease, right?
No, I was very much against it because if I were a businessman, I wouldn't want to do that. However, I have started leasing because something that Chad told me. He said, Cam, with this new Clover product that we've got, when you start programming or processing with on Clover, no one else can process on Clover. They have to get another machine if they want. If we involve them in a lease, we have them for 4 years. And I went, God, that's right. That's really right. That's exactly what it does. The other thing, and what it's made me do really is think about leasing and what it means for these merchants. And I have been leasing. I've leased more in the last 2 months than I have in 5 years. And it's a way to anchor these accounts to you. But I'm also making some pretty good money up front now, which ain't bad. But my residuals are now up there where they're a comfortable sum. But the thing that I like about it is it anchors this account to you. It really does.
How much are you leasing those minis for, Cam? Just curious.
It depends on how many they're leasing. Beverly, I've had one leased 6 of them. So I give them a pretty good deal on that. But others, I'm leasing it, the machine itself, for around $55-$60.
Okay.
And then and that's just and the good thing about that is that they're able to get a good machine, an incredible machine, but they're also able to get or have them anchored to me for the next 4 years, and also give them an incredible opportunity for a business management tool that they would have to do the same thing would cost them thousands of dollars a year.
Okay.
I'm probably underselling it, to tell you the truth, but
yeah, probably, but you'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly right. I get scolded by Chad often, and I've got kind of a slow learning curve, but I'm picking up on it.
Well, and you know what you said though too, and it's right, is that your residuals, Cam's residuals now are, he called it a comfortable sum, and what happens is that when your residuals get to such a high level, and I do this myself, you're more willing. You just want more. You just want more of that. You're less concerned because you're making good. Your residuals are flowing in. You're less concerned about upfront money, and because really, at first you're super concerned about upfront money, so you need to be super understanding about how leasing works, so you can make enough money to get to the point where Cam is, where he has a comfortable sum flowing in every month, no matter where on planet Earth he might be. But at first, it's, how do you get there? How do you go from when you're going, man, residuals, I like the idea, and they're coming in a little bit, or I hope they are, wherever you are, to the point where you go, man, I got a comfortable sum, life is good, I'm kind of, I'm not going to say Cam is coasting, I know he's not, but you're going, man, I'm not worried about money like I used to be. When you start anything, you should be damn worried about money. And one of the best ways to alleviate some of that worry is to provide huge value, make sure you understand with the merchant where they are, and and just doing the right things for a rapport and relationship, and by saying how to get into this business and really understanding their business and going, okay, and making good recommendations, using leasing. They don't have to come out of pocket at all, which is really nice for most of these people. And I'm not an accountant, and I'm not going to claim I am, but leasing, when you pay for something up front, now you've got to. I know I'm a business owner. Now I've got to, you get these depreciation schedules, and you've got a line item that says depreciation. I don't know what the hell's all in there. But if we pay cash for equipment, now I have to pay the accountant to figure depreciation, as opposed to just paying a lease every month, and it just comes off 100%. So, for some things, leasing is just easy, and it's it's a little more profitable for you. It's easier for you to get a merchant into it. It's easier for you to make good money. It's easier for you to make enough money up front to bridge that time where residuals start flowing, like Cam said, to what do you call it again? A comfortable sum.
Comfortable sum. Another thing too, John, is now that with the EMV compatibility, it's a wonderful opportunity to start engaging people that are your clients, as well as new people on the fact that Clover could be a marvelous way to help you improve your business, as well as becoming EMV compatible and coming up with the latest technologies for processing cards.
It sounds like Cam is the
and it's a very reasonable way to do it.
Yeah. Well, back to what Beverly was asking, Cam, and so if you were selling a Clover before, what was your cost and what did you sell it at? What was your profit?
Well, I have sold a couple of Clovers only because these folks are very well heeled and they wanted to buy it. That was it. They didn't want to lease. I'll buy it. So I said, okay, cool. So and they paid about a regular double upgrade for those Clover Minis. But when I think about it, I would think that and Clover Minis really work in my clientele very well. But I'm thinking that if you've got the total cost of the business apps plus the terminal lease itself, if it's around $100 a month, they're getting an incredible deal. You're making a lot of money, but they're getting an incredible deal because there's no way in the world that they could get that kind of business management tool for that kind of money. Just not.
So if you're leasing at $100 on everything that you've thrown into that, what's the total cost there? What would be our cost?
Our cost on there is $425.
$425.
Yeah.
And you're selling it. You're leasing it for $100 a month.
Yeah. Let's say you're leasing it for $75 a month, because
okay,
you've got other costs.
Okay. $75. Okay. So you're going to if like Chad said an A or B, you're going to make somewhere between $960 and $1,000 up front on that deal, right?
Exactly. Plus, you're going to get a nice conversion bonus and so forth like that. So you're going to make a nice sale on every one of these that you close.
Yeah, and there's a and so that scenario that Cam just ran isn't an oddball scenario today. This is really where a lot of businesses is headed. The standard credit card terminals that everybody has today, need to be swapped out with something that's EMV compatible. So there's a huge opportunity for leasing, and you should really tackle leasing there. But to give them, I'd give them a B option of Clover. A is we can swap out the terminal that you've got now for something that's EMV compatible, and you're good to go. But here's this B option. Let me ask you, if you could have these things in your business, and then say you want to give them an A-B option. Which one works better for you, Mr. and Ms. Merchant? This one, where we're swapping out and getting an upgraded terminal is going to work for EMV, or this, instead of 39, it's 75, but you get all this other business analysis. I mean, so much stuff for $36. I mean, for about $1.25 a day, you get software that probably takes the place of, I don't know, 15 hours of work a month. It's crazy the cool that it provides. Would you agree, Cam?
Oh, absolutely. And one of the best things to talk about when you're talking about Clover is one of the apps that you have is it's a time clock. But the really cool thing about this particular time clock is that if someone on the staff or one of the employees is not on time, it will ping their phone and say, we're having a wonderful time here at the office today, but you're not here. And when you tell a business owner that, they love that idea. That is the thing. They go, and then the next question is, will this take the place of a time clock? And I go, it certainly will.
Yeah,
which they pay about $50 a month for.
Which one?
Which they pay about $50 a month for.
Yeah, right. So you can say, you get rid of the old time clock, put this in there. Not only does it take the place, but it's integrated. It's easy to use. It's kind of fun, like that thing where you sort of ping the phone saying, "Hey, we're having a great time at the office. Where are you?" And you can add so many apps. It's easy and fun to do, and it's really for an extra $1.25 a day. I mean, it's like turning it's now you run your business kind of on this iPad, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's kind of fun, and it's cheap, and you can make a lot of money doing it. And then you get residuals too. Man, this is kind of a cool business. So there's a lot of opportunities. So
many times
go ahead,
before. I'm kind of an old tiger here, but I wish that these people that are on the phone right now that are 25, 35 years of age have an incredible opportunity to make so much money in the future that it's wonderful. And I envy these youngsters that are on the phone listening to what we've got going and the opportunity that we've got.
Well, that's true, and I guess you got to make hay while your sun shines and make all the opportunity. You never know what's going to come with tomorrow either, regardless of how old you are. And I couldn't agree
True.
more. And, you've given me inspiration to get the hell off this call and go make some money. It's always fun to be with you guys, and be sure to show up tomorrow. We're doing a case study. I'm not sure which one it's on, but how to really go through a deal and structure them, all the paperwork and all that kind of thing. But today we talked about leasing. Don't be afraid. I always went for the people that make the money that I've observed, whether it's me or anybody else. I don't even talk selling. I only talk leasing, and only do I talk selling if the conversation goes something like, well, can I just buy it? And then I'll give them a high price, because I want to make money at this, and I can't be afraid, just like a bank's not, just like a restaurant's not, just like any responsible business person that wants to be around tomorrow. You need to make some margin. You need to make money. So if they say, can I buy it? And that's the only time. Don't go, hey, you can either lease it for this or buy it for that. I haven't found that to be very effective. I only go with I prefer is offer them two leasing plans. One is to replace their terminal, or B, to go with Clover, or maybe two different versions of Clover. But anyway, it depends on the scenario. But use leasing. Understand the lease calculator and what it means. What do I need to do to make $500 on each deal? How do I need to? What is this? How does it work? Make sure you understand that. Make sure. Oh, Chad is going to talk about there's some updates on how to do lease paperwork. So, A, get your mind around that you really need to lease. B, make sure you fill out the paperwork right, and C, I guess ask your agent director every time you talk to them, how can I, what are a couple options here? How could I lease this? How can I give them an A/B option? The Clover's the leasing option for option B. There's just ask those questions, because our goal, really our objective is to work with just you guys. We don't really want to add anybody else. We're just soon have you guys make all the money that there is to make, and we all what Cam say, we all make a what did you say? Your residuals are what?
Comfortable residuals. Comfortable.
What was it?
Comfortable, but
yeah.
my comfort level is pretty high.
Well, you know what, and I don't know about you, but my comfort level has risen at different points along the way. It's like, man, am I never satisfied? What else do you need? But it's nice. What a nice, we'll call it an opportunity for lack of a better word right now. But what a cool thing to be able to give yourself a raise and to be able to increase and to be able to gain ground as opposed to just do the same damn thing every month and start from zero. Like, I don't know if I haven't found anything else out there that's better than this. But Chad, you want to just really quick
John,
put the?
You said, can I interject just one thing? When you said giving yourself a raise, this leasing that I'm doing now is really I'm giving myself a raise every month as a result of that, and it's a nice thing to do, and nobody else can do it for me.
Well, that's true. I was away for a weekend this weekend, and I was going through this house of a guy. The house is for sale, and it's out on a point on Rainy Lake, which is on the border of one side's on Minnesota, the other side's on Canada. 5 acres out on this point, and they put that house together a long time ago. I mean, it's old, it's dated. And but I saw, and the guy was very successful. His name was Paul Shano, Schannno, Shano Trucking. It still exists actually in Minnesota. And but he created this little empire with stockyards and trucks and cattle and all this stuff and trucking and whatever. And I saw a picture of him on the wall. And I was back in the 70s. He was on a private jet with a phone and a pinky ring. And I thought, okay, well, whatever. But there's also a little sign on the wall that said, "I fight poverty, I work." And I thought, damn straight, man, isn't that the case? If you want something, it's all there. You just gotta go grab a hold of it, and you can go from nothing to something, and especially in this business because you can keep getting ahead with residuals, and it can put you in a different tax bracket, and it can put you in a different zip code, a whole different life. So, yeah, you're exactly right, Cam. Chad, unless somebody else wants to add something before Chad gets in, or questions, anything like that would be cool.
I have a question. That triphode cam that you took to the optical training with you, I've been trying to get that in a editable format where you could actually print it on your home printer. The version that y'all sent out, we can't print it. The text is too small, and you can't read it unless you're a teenager or a small child. So is there any way that we can get that in a editable format so that we can put our information on it so that when we are talking about Clover, that we can leave it behind?
Yeah, when this,
go ahead, Cam.
Give me a call. Yeah, give me a call.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Just what the thing that I'll add about that is, don't be changing the text in there.
Okay.
Because we have to be mindful. Not only mindful. I mean, it's got to go through legal to okay the words that are on anything with our name on it. So if we give you something, you can't imagine. Maybe you can. The crazy things that I've seen with our name on it, and that we had nothing to do with. And I certainly wouldn't say that and put my name on it. So that's why we just don't distribute things with First Financial that's editable, because it's not anything that you change has to come back and go through legal, and it takes forever. And so that's why we don't do it. If it's just a name, of course, or a phone number, whatever, we want you to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm just wanting to change the phone number in the upper right-hand corner, and in that where it has the location and stuff, just put my name there. So.
Yep, got it. Okay. Chad, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to be able to live up to what you guys have been talking about. You know, anytime you get into paperwork, that's the automatic let all the air out of the room.
Or when Chad grabs the mic. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, so I'll bring the lead balloon in, and the lease process has changed a little bit over the last few months. So the leasing company we use is First Data Global Leasing, and so if you've been doing leasing, you've probably already noticed some of the changes that have been implemented from them, but they're pretty basic, and for the most part, they seem to make sense. So when we're doing a lease on a new app, we can still use the section on page 2 where we fill in all the lease information, and that will suffice. If we're doing it with an existing merchant, we need to have separate lease paperwork. So just talk with your agent director and make sure you got the most up-to-date copy of that. They're pretty big sticklers on if there's a newer copy out and you're using an older version, they will not take it. So just make sure we've got the newest stuff. Just talk with your AD on that. What is new?
And that makes sense. It makes sense that if they've got a new, and they're taking the risk on collecting the money, so we want to make sure we get their paperwork filled out the way that they need it so that they pay us these upfront commissions or pay you these upfront commissions. So, yeah.
Now,
do we have the updated stuff on the site on FFUS University?
You know, let me pop in there. I'm not sure that we have the leasing stuff, so I will go to paperwork right now, and that way we don't have to wait to find out if it's new or not new.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I was going to say, on the leasing stuff, I don't think we've got the regular leasing app on there.
Well, we'll get that. We'll get the if it's not up there, and we need to get it up there. And
okay,
so Chad,
we'll work with IT to get it loaded then.
Yeah, and so does anybody have a question about that? How it might be different today?
Here's what the biggest differences are. So in the past, we could just send in the application along with a pre-printed check, and the equipment would ship out, they'd hook it up, and then we did a process which we called verbaling the lease, where somebody at the location, the owner, would physically get on the phone with the leasing company, and they'd walk through terms of the lease and what are these the serial numbers, you know, real basic stuff to say, yep, everything's good. And then as soon as that was done, they'd release the money to us and we could pay you guys. Well, that process has changed. And so the new process on that is they actually have a form that they have the merchant initial. And it's real basic stuff. Have you received your equipment? Are the serial numbers what match on this page? Do you understand that it's a lease and it's for this term? So on and so forth. So they initial all those things and sign off on it. Once we send that off to the leasing company, if everything's in good order, then they release the lease funding to us and we can pay you guys out. And so that
so we don't have to verbal anymore?
They will do verbaling randomly now. So
okay.
what that tells me is say it again,
so
John?
It's better. So it's easier. It's simpler now.
Right. Yeah. So if you've got a
but
merchant
who's sending out the form to be signed by the merchant?
Okay. So once that equipment is shipped, we're sending that directly to the merchant. You know, I mean, Cam, you've done a few of these where we've got the sheet now.
Yeah.
The one thing as an agent, because you're waiting to get paid on the other side of that, is you want to make sure that you're prepping your merchant up front. Hey, when this equipment comes out, you're going to be getting this form, and we need to, in order for this to get activated and everything, we need to make sure we go through it right away and you get it back to us. Because like anything else, if a merchant gets something and it's a form, they'll set it to the side and not do anything with it, which we've seen some of that. So you, as an agent, you may have to be on your merchant to make sure that side of it gets completed. Does that make sense?
Yep.
When is that form being released, though? Is it released when the merchandise is being released by FDR?
So our support team here, when they order the equipment, they're getting the serial numbers as the stuff's getting loaded, and they're pre-filling out the majority, all the basics of it. Who the merchant is, the merchant ID number, address.
So it's First
model.
Financial that's doing this processing.
Well, we fill out the top part of the form. The bottom side of it, the merchant has to verify that everything that they receive.
I understand that, but
correct.
It's being generated by First Financial. Period.
Correct.
Thanks.
So when we get the order information and have the serial numbers, our team here, our support team, they put that form together and they'll send it off to the merchant.
So what does the sending mean, Chad? Does it email? Does it go in the mail?
Typically email. I have not run into one of these where we didn't have an email address yet. I know there's some of those probably antique dealers and things like that are still using rotary phones that don't have email, but most of them do, so that's how we've been delivering them. And
okay. And so this is going smooth. I mean, people are, and I would imagine, like you said, it's important. Hey, Mr. When you get the equipment, you're also going to be getting this form in the email. You just need to. Do they have to fax it back?
They can print it off, and they have to initial it and sign off on it. They can scan it back and send it back to us that way, or they can fax it in. Either way. So
fax it or email it. For me, I mean, I don't know how to scan. So I get stuff like that too. It's like, hey, sign this and send it back. And going, well, how the hell did I do that? So it needs to be pretty. And half the time these days, it seems like people don't. Since I am almost just a little bit past the rotary phone, and I don't know how to scan and attach it back. For me, that's a silly process. I'll just sign it and throw it in the fax machine and move on with life. But sometimes I don't even send a fax number. So is it very clear on there where I can fax it back?
Yeah. With all the leases on the new process that I've been associated with, it's pretty straightforward laid out. And when we're not getting them back, the girls are calling out to the merchant to make sure that they've received it and explain it. So we're following up hard on our end. Sometimes the merchants, and I'm guessing there's a few of you guys on the call today that have had that merchant that it's like, man, they're impossible to get a hold of.
That's right.
So as an agent, I want to let you know what this process is so you guys can be proactive on this, because it's your money and we can't pay you what we don't have, so we want to make sure that we get everything funded right away.
Would it be possible to, when you send an email out to the merchant, that you copy the agent so that the agent knows when the merchant has received it?
On that, I would work closely with your agent director, and you will see in the updates. So when the updates go out, every time something's done with an account, especially when it's new or there's equipment going out, there's updates that you get emailed on. I would pay close attention to those so that you can make sure that, if there's correspondence with your merchant, you typically see that in there.
Okay.
So. And work with your agent director as well. So if you've got a lease deal going, I mean, you guys should be timelining it out. It's like, all right, we got the approval on the account today. We got a lease score, and okay, tomorrow that means that they're going to be ordering the terminal. It'll ship. We're doing 2 days, so today's Monday. We'll get the stuff Tuesday. 2 days later, that's Thursday. So Thursday, I know that thing's arriving there, and you'll see the tracking numbers. So you'll have the ability to be on them like white on rice, through that update process. And so we can do it that way. The other thing is, when we do leases, we need a photo ID as well. That is the other change. So along with, when you're doing the application, if you're doing a lease, just make sure and get a copy of their driver's license as you're out there doing the paperwork, just as if it's old hat and part of the process. Does that make sense? Or
yeah,
is that clear?
So it's simpler, which is good. They just want to make sure that signatures match and all that kind of thing. So rather than doing a verbal, we've got a form and a driver's license. That's a good trade.
Yeah, and like I said, there will still be some that will be verbaled. They said it's random. Out of the 2 or 3 dozen we've had here in the last month or two, we have not had any of that they've asked to verbal. And I assume if they start getting a bunch of disputes on leases that we're doing, all of a sudden random will turn into every other one. But just make sure you walk through it with the merchant and they understand it. And if you do that on the front end, it makes our job on the back end of getting it in a whole lot easier. And then you get paid quicker.
And that's always good. Like Cam said, he's making a lot more money now that he's leasing, that it's important to get the money. Anyway.
And what he didn't tell you is he's doubled and tripled his equipment income in the last few months. So.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
So there you go. So lease, there's no money up front. Get a driver's license, fill out the lease paperwork, bingo presto. And away we go. Anything we want to add to that? Any questions? Cool. Well, thank you guys for being here. Cam, thank you so very much. As always, you're regularly so helpful and so greatly appreciated. Thank you. Chad, great job. Thank you for Beverly. Anybody else who's asking questions, thank you for. It's great when you guys participate because it's just value. You strive to provide a lot of value for our team, for the merchants, and by participating, you're giving value to the team too, and that's a cool and good thing to do. So thank you. Those of you who are not new or those that are new that want to run through the case study tomorrow, those are always super valuable. Again, not sure which one we're doing, but if I were new, I would want to go through the case study. I'd go to the case study class as much as absolutely humanly possible and ask a lot of questions. And be prepared when you get there. If you're coming, be sure you open it up. Even print out. I'd print out the case study, which has statements, has the merchant tune-up sheet, merchant account order form, the fee schedule, all those things. We walk through it. Where did it come from? How did you decide to price it this way? What do the statements look like? What do they mean? How would we do it again next time? What kind of money was made on it? Was it a lease? Was it a sale? How does it all work? All those things. So be sure to come to that especially if you're relatively new. So anyway, thank you everybody. Have a fantastic day.